The dramatic impact of distance learning has been predicted with each new evolution in distance learning technology. None have lived up to their hype. Distance learning, in particular, has gone through many manifestations. In this presentation, we will look at a history of distance learning and the different forms it takes today. It is said that those who cannot learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So it's a good idea for us to start with a look back at the history of distance learning. Distance education in the form of correspondence courses existed as early as 1873, when Ann Ticknor organized a society that provided correspondence instruction to 10,000 female members. Shortly afterwards, in 1883, Chautauqua College of Liberal Arts became the first educational institution authorized to offer a degree by correspondence. It was claimed at the time that the day is coming when the work done by correspondence will be greater in amount than that done in the classrooms. And ever since, high expectations have accompanied each new innovation in distance education. In 1913, Thomas Edison proclaimed that, due to the invention of film, our school system will be completely changed in the next 10 years. Education wasn't completely changed by 1923, but the age of video and audio had begun. Educational radio was developed but limited in the 1930s. Educational television saw great interest in the 1940s, and 3 different studies in the late 50s showed that learning by television compared favorably with conventional instruction. In the 1960s, the Midwest program on airborne television instruction used airplanes to transmit educational television signals to nearly 2,000 schools in Indiana and surrounding states. This medium was ultimately determined to be prohibitively expensive. However, educational television and other forms thrived and continue to this day in a variety of forms, including public television stations. In 1964, at the New York World's Fair, AT&T announced the first video telephone, the picture phone. The service was sold commercially in the 1970s for $160 per month. It didn't take off, and the service was no longer available just a few years later. Likewise, the entire decade of the 1970s saw much advancement in interactive video systems, with little commercial activity. However, as cable television expanded throughout the 1980s, many K-12 educational systems were able to utilize unused bandwidth and turn a classroom into a broadcast station. They transmitted the video of a teacher in one classroom across the local cable network to students in other classrooms miles away in different towns. Likewise, video images of the students in the remote classrooms were transmitted back to the teacher. Such systems would typically allow teachers to interact with up to 3 remote classrooms simultaneously. Because the signals were analog, the distance limitations of such fully interactive systems were confined to the local cable company's plant. However, satellite networks allowed for universal distribution of the teacher's live signal, but interactivity was limited to only allowing students to call in with questions. The expansion of the Internet in the 1990s allowed the two-way digital transmission of audio and video to other Internet-connected computers around the world. Programs such as See provided a very inexpensive, readily available application that allowed the user to video conference over the Internet with no per-minute fees. Many other programs soon followed, including NetMeeting and WebEx. These applications require little network bandwidth, and simple point-to-point Internet video conferencing is a common occurrence today. Multi-point conferencing is becoming more common due to simple video conferencing devices made by Polycom, Tataran, or others. These video conferencing devices require just an Internet connection. The cameras and microphones are built in, and so setup is a snap. Users can connect directly to another unit or to a bridge that can manage multiple video feeds. The bridge provides each participant a live feed of all of the other participants. Modern video conferences are active, dynamic sessions that require little technical knowledge by the end user, incur no usage fees, and require few network resources. Today, video conferencing in education takes on 3 major forms. First, schools may participate in a virtual field trip. This type of session is a live point-to-point session between a classroom and a remote expert, such as a marine biologist. A virtual field trip allows the students to interact with a subject matter expert when it otherwise may not have been possible due to geographic or financial constraints. Second, administrators and teachers often employ video conferencing to reduce travel time to meetings, virtually attend conference sessions, or participate in professional development. These may be multi-point sessions requiring a bridge or simple point-to-point sessions. Third, entire classes may use the equipment to connect with one or more other classes to share a teacher on a regular basis. Because these sessions are held regularly, often daily, with a large group of less mature participants, they require somewhat specialized environments, such as larger displays, more cameras, more microphones, specialized audio equipment, and simpler end-user controls. Such a configuration is often referred to as a distance education classroom. The trend toward a technologically transparent educational experience that provides more opportunities to learners from challenging geographic and economical situations is a trend that will clearly continue. The effectiveness of the instructors and learners in this new format will depend on their ability to manage the technology and how well they can apply existing and newly formed teaching methods to these new environments.